Hello and welcome back, consumers. I'm Altari, the professional gamer, and this is another Pax Friday review. This is the show where we talk about all the fun, interesting, new, and exciting information that has dropped for Pax Day over the last week. And this week was a big one because Alpha 2, the Pax Dei Wilderness Alpha, released. We were there at 5 o'clock in the morning Pacific Standard Time, and we streamed for about 5 hours and gave away 50 keys on the channel. And it was such a fun time, and thanks to everyone who came out and supported and just enjoyed the time there. We answered a lot of the community's questions, as well as showed off a lot of the Golden City, and it was just such a fun time. Since that, we have had a huge influx of players to our location, and we are currently experimenting with how to build a community out of just a small group of players and into something that's bigger than just one clan. And that has been a really fun thing to be testing in this alpha. That being said, there's been a lot of other things to test and a lot of changes to the game and updates. So in today's episode, we're just going to briefly review some of the updates and changes that have happened since the game launched, and then go over a little bit of where I feel like the current state of things are. We also have a really exciting announcement for an event happening on Sunday, so make sure you watch till the end of the video to make sure you don't miss that. As well, don't forget to like if you enjoy this type of content, subscribe so that you can get notified whenever we post any new videos on Pax Day, and share with any of your friends as well, just in case they might have missed it. So for today, I just want to go over a couple of the updates that happened, and we got one developer post called Stories from the War Room. And it seems as though they have about 150 servers giving the service to all of our clients. And that includes like back-end databases and all of that. But I thought that number was huge, all things considered. And it seems as though they have been able to find where a lot of the bottlenecks existed at the very start, where players were having a hard time downloading the game and all of its updates. Plus, there was a pretty big amount of lag that happened in the initial couple of hours, like 12 or 18 hours that the game was live for. They identified a lot of those problems, and the game seems to be running a lot more smoothly now, at least in terms of latency and lag. So that was a really big win on Mainframe's part. But they detailed in several paragraphs exactly how they encountered the problem, how they fixed it, and how they pushed an update. And then the realization that update that they pushed out started to cause other issues, and then how that all kind of exploded. And it's really cool to see them just be honest about how their development process works and how they're kind of putting out these fires as they come. And it was a very interesting read. And if you haven't read it, I recommend going to the announcement section on the Pax Dei official Discord in order to check all of that out. Another thing that they did is they did a couple of spot updates across the entirety of the last couple of days, where they were trying to adjust gameplay elements so that players could actually continue to test. One of those was a lot of players have placed their plots on some nodes for resources, so there was actually a really decreased amount of clay available, and it also kind of expanded to things like nice rocks and impure iron ore nodes and flax. And the issue was that when you place a plot down, if it's on a resource node, then that resource will no longer respawn on the node after you pick it up that last time. So a lot of players were settling near riverbeds and stuff like that, which is where a lot of the clay in-game spawned. So then as a result, there was almost no clay available for players to actually build anything, even though their plots were placed. So what Mainframe did is they did a little bit of a tweak on their backend database, and they increased the number of clay locations that were spawning around the entirety of Pax Dei, which then opened up a lot more room for players to advance, and it didn't feel as much like the game was resisting them in just being able to do the basic functions of building. which was a really cool change they made. And I was super glad to see that they were hearing community feedback and made as many quick changes as they could to the game to increase our player experience. One of the main topics that I've heard a lot of people talking about, I've been stopping around a lot of the live streams on Twitch and watching a couple of the review videos that have been posted right now. And one of the big things is people are talking about how long it takes to do anything. And I think that we have to look at it in terms of Pax Dei is a game that isn't designed on a wipe schedule. There will never be a wipe when the game is released. And it is designed to be something that is persistent and carries on for many, many years. And when you design a game like that, you have to create time sinks, and you have to create a frame of time where when you look back and see everything that you've done, you feel like you've achieved something, and it's not something that you could have just woken up, decided to play for 24 hours straight and get to the max level and then just never open the game up again. That's not something that they want, because they want the game to feel alive. They want players to constantly be coming back. They want players to be engaging and doing all of these other types of things. So they do increase the amount of time that it takes to do certain tasks, but then the great thing is that they're appointment crafters, like iron smelting. That takes 2 hours. Great. You can either queue up a bunch and then go to bed, or you can go off with your friends and start hitting up some dungeons, or killing some boars, or gathering some clay and doing some more building. And it's great that these types of things exist. And while it obviously sucks if you're trying to level up crafting and trying to get armor smithing done, it's something that is supposed to take a period of time, and you're not going to be able to get through everything in the 7 days. And that was completely intentional by the dev team. Now, one area of mistake that they might have made is we only have 7 days and they want us to go and test combat and they want us to go and test PvP, but it's going to be really hard for a lot of players to actually go and do that for a majority of the days, because they're all busy gathering the resources necessary to go and do it. And with it being full loot PvP, once you go and take all of that preciously crafted gear, if you go and die, then that's it. You just lost 4 or 5 days worth of progress, and you're going to have to go back and do all of that. So I do think from the alpha testing standpoint that with how crafting is working right now and the amount of time it takes, that we definitely need either more time or the crafting needs to be decreased a little bit. But that's just a little bit of helpful criticism in an otherwise really fun alpha so far. The Golden Company, which is the clan that I'm a part of, was able to take a large community worth of people, not even in our clan, and we went and hit a bunch of points of interest, as well as did a complete dungeon run, and it was great, because a lot of what we needed as the Golden Company was very different from what the other members of the community needed. So we let them go and pick up all of the random bodies that existed when we hit the points of interest in the dungeon, but then we took the relics, which were the rare things that we needed specifically for our use. And it was kind of this really nice mutual benefit, and it seemed like a very emergent thing where we just posted it out and said, hey, let's go and hit these dungeons, and a bunch of players all showed up to go and experience it. So it's things like that that I think are going to really make Pax Dei thrive in the future. And I hope that the team over at Mainframe really lean into that even more and to bring that immersion. Now, on the topic of being able to do this solo, I still think completely that as a solo player, you are going to be able to do everything solo. I just don't think you would be able to do it in a 7-day period of time. It does take a lot of time, and it takes a lot of understanding how these systems work, and with how the combat balancing and all of that is working right now too, and the crafting balancing, it takes a lot of time. And I think those are going to be things that get changed, so just stay tuned and it should be okay. Lastly, in terms of combat, I know a lot of people are saying, oh, the animations are not the best, or it doesn't seem like there's impact, or it's not really feeling heavy and you're not making contact when you have these, or you don't have a lot of abilities and the magic isn't that extensive. That's because Pax Dei's alphas are legitimately alphas. They're not marketing betas. They're not where they're just trying to share their game and have an excuse for bugs to exist, or have an incomplete product but still make money off of it. These alphas are unpaid, and they're spending a whole heck of a lot of money probably on all of these servers to host all 100,000 plus of us, but they're doing it in order to get feedback, in order to find out how they can improve their game. And that's kind of the thing that I wanted to leave at. And I know that some people might be a little disappointed with how crafting's working, or a little disappointed with how combat is working, or a lot for that matter, based on some of the comments I've seen in my videos. But it is a process, and that's game development from a whole, and that's kind of what gives Mainframe a couple of golden stars, in my opinion, is that they're very open with their development, but more so, they're very open with receiving feedback and applying it to the game that they are making. They're extremely passionate about the game, and it's for that reason that I have committed this channel so far to covering Pax Dei. It's because I believe in the game and I believe in the team, and I really hope that many of you can see that glimmer of hope, even when the combat might not be as stellar as you expect. But they have made a lot of improvements over the last 5 months alone, and with the team size that they have, that is incredibly impressive. So great job, Mainframe. You guys are doing really good, but keep up the good work. And once we get done with this week, I'm sure take a little bit of a break, and then you'll all get right back to it. I'm confident that that's how you all operate anyways. You're crazy in that regard. Either way, that's all that I had to talk about for today's Pax Friday review. Thanks for joining along on this little diatribe journey of just talking about things that happened during the week. And speaking of something happening during the week, at the end of this week on Sunday, around 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, we are going to be going out to Lyonesse, which is the PvP zone, and we're going to be having the largest brawl known to mankind. And you can bring whatever you want and all of the gear that you have, and we're going to just go and hit each other as hard as we can in the PvP zone. We're going to see how many people we can get in one area fighting each other, and try and probably break the game with that regard. But then at the very end of the entire thing, we're just gonna have a naked bar fight. Yeah, we're just gonna fist cuffs, just everything's off, and we're just gonna go ham. And whoever wins might win something. Who knows? So definitely stay tuned for that. If you haven't joined the Professional Gamer Discord, I highly recommend it. We're going to be posting more information there, as well as probably on the official Discord, but it's definitely going to be something fun, and I hope any of you who can show up will. We are located on the Argatha server, and Lyonesse is pretty much right next to where the Golden City is, so if you spawn near Golden City, then you're perfectly fine. Just head on out with us. But other than that, around 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, we are going to be having the largest PvP brawl that Pax Dei has seen yet. I hope you can make it. And with that being said, if you enjoyed this Pax Friday review, don't forget to like, subscribe so that you can be notified whenever we post new Pax Dei content, and share this video with any of your friends who might be interested in Pax Dei. Until next week, I'm Altari the Professional Gamer.